The wind arrives first, with a sound like tearing metal. Then the sky goes entirely black. It is not just rain, it is the dismantling of the world. The water rises so fast that even the gods are terrified. Ancient clay tablets tell us they fled to the highest heavens, cowering against the walls like frightened dogs, weeping at the destruction they unleashed. Below them, engulfed in the roaring dark, a wooden boat pitches on the waves. Inside is a man named Utnapishtim. Warned by a secret voice whispering through the reed walls of his house, he built a vessel and loaded it with the seed of all living things. This is the Epic of Gilgamesh, carved into Mesopotamian clay nearly 5,000 years ago. For a long time, scholars assumed this was a regional memory, a localized trauma from a terrible river flood that grew into legend. It is a logical assumption, but it is wrong. Thousands of miles away, in the ancient Indus Valley, a civilization with no cultural ties to Sumeria was preserving the exact same memory. A king named Manu is washing his hands when he scoops up a tiny fish. The fish speaks. It begs for protection, promising to save him from a coming cataclysm. Manu raises the fish, which grows massive and golden, revealing a single horn upon its head. The fish commands him to build a ship and gather the seeds of life. When the rains finally shatter the sky, Manu ties his boat to the horn of the golden fish, which pulls him through the apocalyptic waves. The whispering reed wall and the golden fish, two distinct traditions possessing the exact same blueprint for the end of the world, and they are not alone. There are over 200 versions of the Great Deluge across the globe. From the jungles of Southeast Asia to the ancient Mediterranean, every culture was obsessed with the exact same nightmare. The question is not just how they all came up with the same story, but why human beings so desperately needed to tell it. When we place these stories side by side, a striking blueprint emerges. Whether reading the clay tablets of Sumeria, the Greek myths of Deucalion, the Hindu Puranas, or the ancient Thai epics of Southeast Asia, the structure is identical. A divine warning is given. A vessel is built. Life is preserved against the deluge. The waters recede, leaving survivors stranded on a mountain peak to begin again. It is in the differences we find the fingerprints of these cultures. In the ancient Near East and Greece, the flood is often a story of divine annoyance. In Gilgamesh, gods unleash the waters because humanity has become too noisy. In the myth of Deucalion, Zeus sends the deluge, disgusted by mortal arrogance. The cataclysm is a punishment. It is the wrath of angry deities swatting at humanity. Moving east, the archetype shifts radically. In the Hindu story of Manu and the golden fish, the Matsya avatar, the flood is not a punishment. It is a necessary mechanism. The universe operates in massive cycles of creation and dissolution. The waters rise because the current age has exhausted itself. The flood is an act of cosmic hygiene, washing away spiritual decay to preserve the cosmic order. We see this beautifully in the traditions of the Thai people of Southeast Asia. In their epic, the earth falls out of harmony with the sky realm, ruled by the Pu Thane. Humans sever the connection between earth and heaven. The sky gods flood the earth, not out of spite, but to reset a broken system. The survivors float in a massive hollow gourd, and when the waters recede, piercing that gourd births the new world. A noisy Sumerian city, a wicked Greek age, an exhausted Hindu cycle, a broken Thai spiritual balance. 4 distinct cultures utilizing the exact same mechanism, the rising, cleansing water. They all knew the world had to drown so it could breathe again. Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Why did everyone tell this story? For over a century, archaeologists have searched for a single catastrophic global event, a suddenly melting ice cap, a shattered meteor. But treating the flood as mere geology misses the point. The deluge is not just a physical event that happened to us in the deep past. It is a psychological event that is always happening within us. The psychoanalyst Carl Jung believed these myths surface from our collective unconscious. Water, in the language of dreams, represents the chaotic, formless deep. The flood is what happens when our rigid, conscious structures, our corrupt cities and arrogant towers, are finally overwhelmed by that deep. The scholar Maricha Eliade called this the myth of the eternal return. He realized that human beings cannot bear the weight of a degraded, broken world forever. We desperately need a mechanism to wash it all away, allowing us to return to a state of pure, primordial potential. Growing up in Southeast Asia, surrounded by these Eastern traditions, you realize something that outside analysis often misses. When you hear the story of the Thai sky gods or the Hindu golden fish as a child, the flood is never framed as a tragedy. It is framed as an act of profound grace. Western interpretations often fixate on the sheer destruction, the terrifying wrath of the rising tide. But the Eastern mythic mind looks at the deluge and sees cosmic fertilizer. You do not mourn the drowning of the old world. You marvel at the necessity of clearing the soil for the new one. That is the secret encoded in the Great Deluge. It is humanity's shared understanding that building a better world is not just about building higher. Sometimes, to save the seed of what is truly good, we must first have the courage to let the corrupted structures wash away. Mythos Decoded exists for exactly this, the stories that connect us across every tradition. There is much more here. I want to ask you, whether it was the Sumerian noise, the Greek arrogance, the Hindu exhaustion, or the Thai imbalance, which culture's reason for the flood resonated most deeply with your own understanding of the world? Tell me below, because once you recognize this universal pattern, you will never look at your own history the same way again.